Welcome everyone once again. You are all welcome to Explicit Physics Academic. And in our last video, we are talking about an introductory video that deals with and we've entailed so much about Explicit Physics Academic. But in this video, this time around, we'll be dealing with guidelines on how to do well in physics. I believe now it is getting more understanding and more interesting. I told you. All right, let us dive in. Now, we're talking about guidelines on how to do well in physics. I've been having issues in physics. I've been feeling so void and empty, like you are alone and you don't have someone to actually guide you up in physics. You've been looking for some laptop, you've gone through the net, you've sought the net up and down, morning and evening, and you'll be like, gosh, I'm done with this physics. But you cannot avoid the course because of what you are studying in school, or perhaps because that you have to do it to go through the physics. But we are now welcome, we are going to be doing 6 basic steps. Remember, I said basic steps on how to do well in physics. If you've been having issues of crossing over in physics, or perhaps on how to scale through your physics courses, your physics subject in your O level, in your college, higher institution, or so thereabout. Well, I believe this is a right channel for you to do that. But before we continue, or before we dive in, do have to click on the subscribe button, like, and also share this video. Let's dive in. All right, so we were talking about guidelines on how to do well in physics, and the first guideline up the board is memorize basic steps. That's the first ever thing you could ever think of doing. Remember, I didn't actually jump into the basic, like talking about motion, talking about so much velocity, talking about gravity, and so on and so forth. Rather, we are starting with memorizing basic terms because as a physics student, as a physicist, or someone that wants to just do physics course to add up with what you are doing, the first thing you want to know is memorizing basic terms. It's very important to know the basic terms you are doing. Like you may ask, but actually we have been so much terms in physics. Which one am I memorizing? Now, if someone could meet you, maybe you're outside there playing football or watching a movie, what is motion? In a very funny way. What can you say about it? Do you understand what is motion? Just the rate of change of position of your body with time. Yeah, those are the basic steps. Like the first one is memorizing basic basic terms. We have in motion. What is force? What is velocity? Acceleration? All those little things all are the basic terms you have to memorize at first. In doing well in physics, it's not about the abstract, it's not about the quantum mechanics, the statistical mechanics, it's not about the classical mechanics and all of that, or all those modern physics. No. You're doing it in physics underlying on you knowing the basic terms, those small things you've actually left us. So if you've not actually done that, I believe this video should be able to drive you back into your old books to go and review those things before you continue in this channel. If not, you get lost. So that's the first one. And the second steps on how to do well from the board, we are having memorizing units. We are having basic units of length, is meter. We are having the unit of velocity, that's meters per second. We also having some unit of acceleration. We have unit of force. We are having so much units. So you don't want to actually say, okay, I'm going to skip any part of that, the terms, skipping the part of the unit, skipping the part of the constant. No, you cannot skip any of this part. You're doing well in physics. It's a function of you knowing terms and memorizing units. When I say memorize, I didn't say just understand memorizing units. Yes, we are having some fundamental units, and we also have derived units. I will talk about that in our subsequent videos so that you understand all these things. So I'm taking you gradually so that you will know and you understand the physics. That's why this explicit physics academic, we break things down beneath you. All right, so the second point there is memorizing units. We are having time, we are having mass, we are having we also have length, of course. Those are the fundamental quantities of which I will talk about in subsequent videos. But at this level, you have to note them, you have to memorize them because they will help you to understand when you are trying to solve a problem in physics, those terms, if they correlate, if they are correlating, you will know by their units, you know that okay, this does not match, then this is not the right formula. Of course, after we finish our video on dimensional analysis, you should go to understand that okay, this formula I'm using is wrong. This formula I'm using is correct. As such, let me change or let me apply this and that. Okay, that is for the unit. And the third point on how to do well in physics We haven't memorized basic constant. In physics, of course, why some people always complain, I'm tired of physics, it's boring, this because I cannot do well, I don't know, I don't understand anything, is because they are missing out in these basic things. Possibly they have skipped out some basic terms, maybe during their O level or during their grade one, grade two in school. They have heard of these terms and they just after all, I will not need it. They have seen some units back decades ago or years ago. They were like, what is just then unit is not important. They've skipped it. And now they have now moved down to something far in physics and they begin to complain. So that's why it's very, very important to know those basic units. And the third one, we have been memorizing basic constants. We are having so much constant. You have to note those constants. We're having the gravitational constant. We're having the speed of light. That's 2.888 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. That's random figure 3.0 times 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. That's the speed of light. Do you know all these things? You have to memorize these things. They are very simple because in your everyday life you'll be applying them. Like we also have the Boltzmann constants, we're having the Planck constant, we're having the gravitational constant, gas constant, and so on and so forth. These are all constants that physicists back then, centuries ago, have sat down to come out with these things so that it will enable we, the modern physicists that are just starting up, to not actually go and start, dealing with so much in understanding some business phenomena. Rather, we just carry those things they've taught us initially, apply them, and come out with a good result. And the fourth point, of course, is memorizing basic equation. We having some basic equation as someone that wants to do physics or that is physics inclined. We having the velocity, we having the speed. Of course, they're almost the same with the velocity. We having acceleration, we having force, and so on and so forth. These are all basic equations. Basic equations. Do you note? Have you been noting all these equations? If not, I would suggest you go back to your basic physics you've been doing. Open up those your books, use your textbook you have been given in school, and see how to revise yourself. But if you think perhaps you've lost those things, then welcome to Explicit Physics Academy because you're going to take you step by step on how to get away from your fears in physics and expand your thinking horizon in physics. Okay, so 4 points is memorizing basic equation. You're having velocity, of course, that's displacement all over time. Speed is distance traveled per given time. We also have acceleration, the rate of change of velocity with time. We have force, of course, that's the product of mass and acceleration. And all of those equations so entails a lot. You're doing well in physics, also underline you noting those equations because if you get up to quantum mechanics, they say you want to calculate the speed of an electron. It's not coming from anywhere, unless you want to calculate let's say the velocity of an electron moving at the speed of light. The equations are not like abstract. They are starting from V equal to D all over T. It's from here they'll start adding up some things that makes it look a bit lengthy and wow, this is much. No. Even in Albert Einstein's mass equivalent equation, it's just from the basic equation that they use it to expound it. We will get to that point with time. But follow this academic gradually, and we having acceleration of course and force. So if you've been neglecting all these things, all you have to actually go back to them so that it will enable you understand more. Of course, we're having work, distance and displacement and force. That's the product of displacement and force. We're having power. We also have momentum. These are all basic terms, and we're having more order. It's not limited to what I just listed out here. Okay, and the fifth point is study the derivation of basic equation. Is to study the derivation. How are they derived? How is acceleration derived? I believe in our subsequent videos we are going to talk about acceleration. Acceleration is just velocity time graph that gives us acceleration. How do you give us acceleration? If you are deriving velocity for acceleration, um you get acceleration. That's velocity. You get acceleration. Yes, because the change of velocity and time gives us acceleration. That's why when you check the slope of this, you're going to find the v all over the t. That's the v means that you are deriving velocity all over time, which gives us acceleration. So your knowing physics also entails you understanding derivation of basic equation, how they are being derived, because it's from your knowledge of those equations that entails you understanding the basic things that you'll be doing up there. So that's the fifth point. And of course, we are having the last point here. That's learn the math skills required in doing physics problems. Required in doing physics problems, the basic skills. Of course, that's why I've said it earlier that explicit physics academic is not only doing physics, you're also doing maths. Because for you to become a core physicist or perhaps someone that wants to do physics, an engineering student, a math student, statistics student, or anyway like accountant or whatever, you will need the physics. Sorry, you will need the math. And as a physics student, you also need the math to round up everything. So math is very important. So we are having here some basic like the pre-algebra and algebra. We are having here trigonometric. We also have the pre-calculus, calculus, and linear algebra. These are the basic math skills you actually need in solving physics. Basically, calculus. Calculus is always needed in most of the physics problems. Also we are having linear algebra, we are having trigonometry, because we'll be dealing with angles, and angles in math falls under trigonometry. So all of these are all basic things. Now you could be able to understand that physics and math correlate a lot. So that's what we've been able to do. I believe you now understand those 6 steps, the 6 basic steps that you need to note in your doing well in physics. That the first one, we are having to memorize basic terms, and the second step, we are having to memorize units. The third one, memorize basic constant, and the fourth one, of course, you note it there, memorize basic equation. We are having to study the derivation of basic equation and learn the basic skills required in doing physics problems. Physics problems are the functions of math. They lie under math. On your basic notes, basic things you note in math is what you use in solving physics. So I believe this video has been so beneficial to you. If you've seen this video so beneficial, please do well to click the subscribe button, like the video, and also share to your loved ones so that they will also gain from this knowledge. Thank you. We'll see you in the next video.